In this episode, we talk about the Alien August Competition 2015, and at the end of the show, we will announce the winner. Hello, you're listening to the Sci-Fi Ideas podcast with me, Mark Ball, and my brother, David Ball.
Hello.
Hello. This is a special Alien August podcast. It's been a long time since we recorded one, but we thought we'd better get one done for Alien August since there's so much to talk about.
Well, we can't say this is Alien August because this is now the end of August.
Yes, there's only one day left as we're recording, and it'll take me days to edit it.
So can we say it's Sci-Fi September?
Yeah. Every September, Sci-Fi September. My life just revolves around sci-fi anyway, so...
Yeah, that's a bit sad, isn't it? Yeah, but there's lots... Right, this year, we've had a lot of sci-fi come out. It feels like we're kind of in a golden age of sci-fi.
Really?
Well...
You think so?
Maybe not a golden age, because it's not always good, but there's a lot. If you think about all the films that are coming out that are sci-fi, I'm sure there must be more than any other year.
Oh, I don't know. There was one year in the 80s where loads of really, really good stuff came out, like The Thing and E.T. and all in the same year.
E.T. was 1982, I think.
82. There's one year in particular in the 80s where just everything iconic in the 80s came out.
Yeah,
brilliant.
but
what
it looks like a lot because you're looking back. All right, what have we had? We've had
Guardians of the Galaxy, which is good, but it's just silly throwaway Hollywood sci-fi.
Was that this year? I thought that was last year. Okay.
Well,
yeah, that's recent anyway. We've had Mad Max, which is You can say that's sci-fi, can't you? It's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's spec-fic. Why not?
We've had Ex Machina.
Yes, which was brilliant.
Brilliant about robots.
Now that is truly good quality sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah. We've had Avengers Age of Ultron, which had...
I forgot about that, I haven't seen it yet.
Which is had robots and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't think you can say we're living in a sci-fi golden age because of Marvel, though, because these are not quality sci-fi films.
Why not? It's got robots. It's got robots and monsters. What?
Yeah.
And, interesting concepts. You can't say that they're not sci-fi, because it definitely is. People with, like, rocket packs and laser guns. Yeah. We've had Ant-Man, about a man that gets really, really small. That's definitely sci-fi.
So we're living in a Marvel golden age, is what we're living in.
Well, there's other things.
A sci-fi golden age.
We've had Terminator this year. The new Terminator film.
Oh, is that out already? Okay.
That's been out. It's been and gone. You've missed it.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. We've had Chappie.
Yes.
About the robots.
That was really good.
I didn't see it.
I watched that a few weeks ago. I rented it and absolutely loved it.
Okay. We're getting a new Star Wars film at the end of this year.
Right, yeah.
We've had Jupiter Ascending. Which is probably more fantasy than sci-fi. Yeah, but it's spaceships and robots and lasers and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely sci-fi.
If there's a lot of crap sci-fi, does that mean we're living in a sci-fi golden age, or does that mean like we're living in like a negative, like the opposite of a golden age, like a dark age?
It's not a dark age. It's an age of plenty. We've had Humans on TV series, which I thought was really good, about robots, people owning robots. We've had 12 Monkeys. I don't know if it's this year or last year, but that's the TV series.
I still haven't seen that.
Set in the future and the present, and about time travel and paradoxes and things like that. We've had Dark Matter on Sci-Fi Channel, which I started watching. It was a bit low quality, to be honest. But it was all right, and it's definitely a good sci-fi TV series with spaceships and explosions and stuff like that. Actually, it started really good because all these people came out of stasis, and they didn't know at all who they were or why they were on a spaceship, and so they had to sort of figure out who like what they were doing on the ship.
Yeah.
But the thing is, once I figured out, it was pretty dull. It was just like a boring version of Firefly.
You're not selling it to me, David.
No, it wasn't amazing. We've also had the Star Wars Rebels TV series, Wayward Pines, which is definitely sci-fi. I know you didn't watch it, but
I watched the first 2 episodes, and
it's a slow builder. It builds up over time, and it's definitely sci-fi. It's just one of those series that you've got to stick with it, and it changes and changes, and then at the end of the series, it's completely different to how it is at the start.
Okay, I will give that a second chance, I think.
We've got. Did we have Interstellar this year? Or was it last year?
That was definitely last year, and that was. I'll give you that one.
Definitely sci-fi and big budget sci-fi as well.
Yeah,
proves that people will go to the cinema to watch big sci-fi films.
Yeah, it's annoying when you're one of the people who hate it rather than love it, but why not?
Yeah, but
big budget sci-fi is what we need, so I'm not going to complain.
Jurassic World?
Jurassic World? I didn't see it.
What?
I need to see that. What have I been doing? I've missed all this sci-fi.
You're a sci-fi fan. You say you watch lots of sci-fi, but you've missed most of the sci-fi that's come out.
Yeah.
There was Tomorrowland at the cinema as well, which is about this sci-fi city that, I don't know, on a different planet or something. It's for kids.
that completely passed me by. That I think that passed a lot of people by.
I think probably because it wasn't very good.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't very well marketed.
No, maybe they realised it wasn't good, so didn't bother. Also, the CGI film Home, which is about aliens. It's a kids' film again, but it's about aliens coming to Earth.
We've also had another Starship Troopers film in CG.
Whoa!
It was terrible.
Did we?
I just found it on like Netflix or something, and it's not very good.
Right. Okay. We've also got the film Martian coming out later this year, which is a Ridley Scott film with Matt Damon. Yeah. Have you heard of a film called Air?
Air? No.
I looked on IMDb for sci-fi films this year, and it's got Daryl from The Walking Dead, and it's about this future where the air is toxic and they're trying to preserve as much air as possible, and I think they're all living underground.
All right.
It looks all right from the trailer.
Different.
But I've not heard of it at all. I don't know if it was like straight to TV or something.
Yeah. And of course we've got Walking Dead. Are zombies sci-fi or the horror or both? I don't know.
Yeah, never sure how to where to put that. And there's the new series of Walking Dead. They Fear the Walking Dead as well.
Yeah. So there is a lot going on. I think my problem is because I don't have Sky, I don't see things when they're new. I have to wait a year for them to be available to stream.
Yeah, but you've got Netflix, and Netflix has got quite a lot of stuff. I suppose
but like I say, it's always delayed though, so I haven't seen a lot of this stuff yet.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan. Is it sci-fi? Is it fantasy? Ooh, it's more fantasy, surely, than anything. But that's exploded very recently, and we've just got the new live-action film out, which I've heard is, I've heard mixed reviews.
Right, okay. That's out, is it?
Yes, I believe so. Well, I watched a review the other day of from the first screening in Australia.
Oh, wow.
And the people couldn't decide if they liked it or not.
Well, for me, the Attack on Titan thing just came out of nowhere. I'm sure it's been around a long time, but...
Oh, well, it has, the comics. It's still fairly new, but it's kind of exploded, yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of a film called Robot Overlords?
Yes, I've seen it on Netflix, I think. I haven't watched it.
It's got Ben Kingsley and Gillian Anderson.
I just saw the cover picture and thought, no, I'm not watching that.
What? What, you saw giant robots and you said no? It's amazing.
Is it? No.
I don't know. It looks like a kid's film with robots in. But the robots look like the kind of robots from Total Annihilation. You know, the...
Yeah.
You know, the ones with the big legs and the big stomping around. Yeah, they look like that. I thought that was quite cool.
Okay. Well, I did like Pacific Rim, so maybe I'll enjoy it.
Oh, I didn't like it that much. I wanted Pacific Rim to be a bit more fun. I think it took itself too seriously.
Really?
That's what I thought. Yeah, and the acting.
Maybe they should have just cut out all of the talking.
Oh yeah, just cut out all the talking. Just put robots in it. I'm not that bothered.
That's what I've heard about the Attack on Titan movie, is that
Right.
there's a lot of exposition at the start and there's talky bits that are just boring, but then the action scenes are amazing, and they should have just cut out all the talking.
But you don't need the exposition. So I think it's kind of cool when you come into something completely fresh, and you don't need the exposition to tell you anything. You just have to figure it out.
That's the thing. The anime didn't have any exposition. It dropped you kind of straight into it. Well, it did go back and give a bit of backstory to the characters, but the opening scene where there's just a giant wall and a giant hand on it, and the line, just like that, everything changed. You don't need any exposition, just that's enough. Anyway, it's arguably not sci-fi, so we shouldn't be talking about that.
Yeah, fine. Alien August.
Right, yeah. Which article shall we talk about first?
Was that a genuine question? I thought you were going to find one.
It was, yeah.
Okay. We could talk about. I liked the Surds only because it was such a bizarre concept. It looks
like the picture.
The picture looks like some sort of sausage dog, but it's got eyes at the front and on the sides and at the back.
Right.
Which is kind of
mental.
This one. And they can be small or they can be as large as a bus. And
right. Are they like Jake from Adventure Time?
Well, they stretchy. No, they're not stretchy. They don't actually make themselves bigger. It's just that they range in many sizes. I've seen the old ones are like the old ones are gigantic, probably. They can't hear. They're on a planet with too much wind to be able to hear anything.
I did read this, by the way. What? I've just forgotten. All these aliens are starting to blur together for me.
They communicate with gestures, and they have. It calls it a kind of wing, but I think it's not really a wing. It's just an arm that they can easily gesture with. Oh,
it's a sail for like signalling, like semaphores?
Yeah, I think that's what it's like.
Yeah.
The thing that I liked about it is because they don't understand speech, because they don't have any concept of talking. They view humans with contempt and suspicion because of the differences in communication. In Surd culture, it's considered rude to open your mouth when not eating. So they refer derogatively to humans as chewers because of the constant use of our mouths.
Right. That's a fun little detail.
You wanted to talk about the Goisi?
The Goisi and the Quo are some of my favourites. Very recent entries by Johnson Barrero. Two alien profiles that I think are really strong in their own right, but they also reference each other because the Quo have conquered the Goisi.
Right.
And so they live side by side. And the Goisi, a lot of Goisi follow the Quo religion.
Mm-hmm.
There was a really interesting description of the religion, which kind of sounds a bit Buddhist. They're worshipping not so much a god, but like this kind of universal force. It's kind of like the concept of fate or something. And all of their prophets are people who've lived particularly interesting lives of note, particularly kind of wise people, kind of like lamas in Buddhist tradition.
Right.
And the idea is that you should try and be like one of these great people, and that these great people are in some way an embodiment of this greater universal force.
Okay.
I thought it was quite sensible, as religions go.
Yes, the religion is. The mating rituals are a bit weird. Always comes down to mating, doesn't it?
I know, it's just the Quo we're talking about, not the Goisi, yes.
Ah, okay, you're talking about the Quo.
But the Quo are the ones with the interesting mating, aren't they?
No. Oh, I was thinking about the Goisi. They have the sex organs in their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And then the females spit out the eggs.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Alright, what do the Quo do?
Now, the Quo they only have one gender.
Oh.
Which is a bit tricky with this article, because he's had to create a genderless pronoun, or series of genderless pronouns.
Oh, it says that they're hermaphrodites, so they've got both male and female organs.
Yes. So Spivak pronouns are used. E, M, ears, and M-self.
Oh, God. Right, okay.
It's a bit confusing reading the article. But yeah, they still have sexual reproduction.
Yes.
They're not asexual. So what they do is they have a fight, and whoever wins the fight is the one that does the impregnation. The one who loses the fight has to carry the child.
Right, okay. I think that's kind of like what snails or slugs do. They have really odd rituals where they've got to sort of wind together and they chew off bits.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Chew off bits?
Yeah, because...
That's not good.
Well, you got to chew off the male sex organ to make it female or something.
Oh.
I don't know. Look it up.
Wow.
Anyway, we're talking about aliens.
Yeah, that actually sounds more alien than anything we've got this month. Snails are awesome. Wow. So yeah, the quail, they are a pack hunting species with 4 legs, but then they've got these weird folded up arms at the front as well. It's a really strange picture that Johnson's provided.
Yeah.
Strange thing about all of Johnson's posts, all these aliens interact together and they're all aboard a ship called the Azulith Radiant.
Right.
He's talked about this in, I think, the past 2 years of Alien August. He submitted something that has been on the Azulith Radiant, a ship that's crashed into the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Oceans or somewhere. So all these aliens are now on Earth, kind of stuck here and trying to integrate, a bit like the aliens from District 9.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of arrived and don't know what to do with them kind of situation. So I'm assuming these are in stories that he writes.
Yeah. Okay. I noticed that he also references the squid rat.
From last year's competition.
Last year, yeah.
There's a few from last year he's referenced, actually. So that's nice. That's interesting, how everything fits together.
Yeah, that's good.
Of course, when it comes to judging the competition, I've got to judge each article in its own right.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so a quick rundown of some of the others from this month that I thought were quite good. I like the Grilsh by Hannah Jenkins, who are a race of hairy crocodiles with extra little arms. I thought that was a fun little description. The very first entry, I think, from this month has been overlooked. It was called the Helide. That's a race of jellyfish, basically air jellyfish. I would recommend people go back and read that if they haven't done it. It's by Nathan Nichols.
Air jellyfish? So they're just floating around in the air?
Jellyfish who live in the sky. Yeah, sky jellyfish. Okay. But they talk to each other. They're a bit more intelligent than normal jellyfish.
Okay.
The Hot Seas by Vanessa Ravencroft were a particularly interesting one. Vanessa's are always interesting. She chooses just the most bizarre concept, most bizarre places for aliens to live. I mean, last year she had somebody... These things, Komogi, were they called, who live inside a neutron star.
Okay.
So this time the Hot Seas, they live inside a gas giant. And we had a bit of a strange conversation in the comments of where's the surface that they live on, because they're flat, kind of like pizza things. A bit like the Horta from original Star Trek. I'm sure they are an inspiration on this. So they're flat and they live on the surface of this gas giant. But where's the surface? Surely...
Yeah, it's just a big cloud, isn't it? A gas giant?
But it gets slowly thicker and thicker until it becomes solid. So there is a point at which it stops being gas and becomes liquid and then solid. But is that point defined enough to call it a surface? And wouldn't it be more of a 3D environment and there'd be less flat, but more kind of fish-like?
Well... If there's a point where the gas becomes a liquid, then they might kind of skirt over the top of that. Or is that more of a gradial process? That's
the thing. I would have thought it's much more... Well, it's very gradial, but she's arguing there's still a point where it becomes solid. But we can't call it air because it would be liquid or plasma or whatever.
Yeah.
The kind of atmosphere that they're living in would only be marginally less dense than the surface that they're stood on.
Okay.
It's kind of a bit hard to get your head around.
Vanessa also did an alien called the Boloth, which are these kind of large elephant-type things.
Yeah.
Much, much larger than an elephant.
They are very big. They also lack long trunks. They have kind of mandible things like trunks that they use to manipulate objects and technology, but they're very short, which is a bit weird to me. I would have thought you'd want much longer trunk-like implements.
Yeah.
I find it hard to imagine them manipulating objects with enough dexterity.
What I find interesting about those is they find sex disgusting and immoral. And the Boloth picked for procreation receives secret instructions as how it is done only a day before the state-approved sex act. So they're forced to procreate by the state. And then it says as well that suicide after giving birth is quite high because they realise what they've done and then they're kind of like ashamed of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was
ultimate stigma.
Yeah.
Then the children, aren't they taken off and raised on an island somewhere? I seem to remember.
Right, okay. They're raised by a priest-like caste of mystics living on an island.
Yeah.
So they're taken out of society. And those mystics, the Bivome, are not allowed to speak to the young.
Oh, right, blimey.
They learn speaking only after they leave the island.
Right.
Well, I thought they would need to learn everything they need to survive outside, and then they can join society.
Yeah, but obviously don't talk to the children because they're kind of
different.
Immoral just because they're children, because they're a reminder of the sex act that's taking place. So only when they become adults are they allowed to interact with anybody.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, weird. Another interesting one from earlier in the month was The Erebousian Night Stalker by Michael Pulleen.
Okay.
Now, overall, this is perhaps not the best species, but it does have one really interesting idea in it that I thought was quite unique, that I've never heard of before, and that is telepathic transfer of genetic material. So they reproduce telepathically.
How is...
Right, they are asexual, so they're all able to bear young.
Yeah.
But instead of actually physically transferring information by way of sperm and eggs or whatever, they do it telepathically. So they transmit the genetic information through their minds.
Oh, okay.
And then one receives them and then puts that somehow into an egg with its own information.
That actually doesn't sound that implausible because you are transferring information, aren't you? Genetic information.
That's all it is.
And if
it's implausible because of telepathy. Is telepathy plausible? Some people say yes, it's rubbish. Some people say maybe.
Yeah, but you think about...
But if you assume that telepathy is possible and that they have this ability, then it's kind of a logical step from that in a way, isn't it?
If you think about insects, like ants, communicating by scent, that's very similar to telepathy, isn't it? In a way. You're not touching. You can do it over long distances.
Well, in the way that speech is similar to telepathy because we're not actually touching.
Yeah, well, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, let's not argue about whether telepathy is possible or not because we don't know enough about science.
Fair enough.
And we could be here all day with it. But if telepathy is possible, then that is a really interesting use of it that makes sense. And I've never heard of that before. And I love that. I love when you take a concept that's been around forever and you do something new with it. So, well done to Michael Pulleen.
Yeah, cool.
Some serious originality there, I think.
Does that mean then if you could procreate over telepathy, you could do it using speech?
Well, it would take a very long time, I think, to get the information across.
Well, you can transfer an idea through speech.
Yeah. Yeah, but genome is really long, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
But theoretically, yeah, I suppose you could.
Anyway, let's move on.
Unfortunately, I think this makes sense to solitary creatures.
Yeah.
Who live like miles apart, very rarely come into contact with another member of the species.
Ones that can't move about so much.
Yeah, I think this would be really good for like a plant species or just something that is really slow. But Michael's got these as pack hunters, so I think for pack hunters, physical reproduction would make more sense.
Like trees. Trees transfer their spores by using the wind or other animals.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a nice idea. It's certainly a creative idea.
Yeah.
Fun, interesting, and original.
Yeah,
well
good.
done.
How about Stephen Lyle Jordan's Mind Swarm?
Yes, now this is a really popular one, really well put together article, this.
Yep.
Do we need to tell people about it, or I assume everyone's read it at this point?
Not everyone, no. Explain it.
So it's a swarm of kind of insect-like creatures, very, very small. They're not insects, actually. They don't have 6 legs. They've got 4. Flying insects who work together. They communicate through vibrations, which the Earth insects use is vibrations.
Okay.
And they're able to transfer quite a lot of information, complex information, through the vibrations. And living in a swarm, they kind of work like a mind. Hence the term mind swarm.
Okay.
And so, when he's saying that scientists don't quite know how much information they're able to transfer, how much intelligence they have, but it seems to be quite high, and the way that they interact together, they sometimes form the shape of a buckyball.
Right.
Nobody knows why they do this, but maybe that facilitates the flow of information.
Okay.
Maybe that form represents a certain type of conversation that they're having. He's left it open to interpretation. I think that's what works well about this article.
Yeah, he says that they can't communicate with humans at the moment.
At the moment. But straight away, that makes me think, okay, I want to read a story now where scientists make that breakthrough and are able to communicate with them and maybe reproduce the right vibrations to give them information and maybe manipulate them. That's how I see it starting.
Manipulate them? What?
The right frequency and, buzz it to this swarm, and then they change shape.
So what, turning them into slaves or into a weapon or into some sort of
weaponization
workers?
is the first thing I thought of, but they only eat dust, so they're not likely to be, the ultimate flesh-eating swarm weapon.
Yeah, imagine that. You just program something in, and then you can get them to go and just eat all your enemies.
Yeah, but they're tiny little things that eat dust, so maybe not.
Probably more useful in your house to just do all the cleaning.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Well,
I'm just going to do the cleaning now. All these insects come in, and then a minute later they leave. Oh, done.
Swarm everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like nanobots.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen a lot of swarms of nanobots working in the same kind of way, except that here's a natural version that makes biological sense.
Yeah.
They're slightly less useful than nanobots, I think. But if you can get them to form certain shapes, they could maybe perform certain tasks. You could maybe re-engineer them, or give them tiny machines so that they can perform other tasks.
Tiny little vacuum cleaners. Tiny little vacuum cleaners and little sponges.
Well, I'm thinking more like paintbrushes, little paintbrushes, and they'll just go and paint something for you.
Probably not the most effective way to paint something. Really. You could get them to go into places that you just wouldn't be able to get to. So,
yeah.
in an engine, you need to get to something that's all the way inside.
But what can they do? Can they fix things?
They haven't got much strength, have they?
No, because they're flying. I mean, with nanobots, you imagine they're kind of crawling over each other and maybe connecting with each other so they can create strong shapes. But because these are flying, they don't really work that way.
Yeah.
But maybe because they're so small and got little legs, maybe they can do really, really fine tasks like fix circuit boards.
Yeah. Could they become a circuit board if they just hold hands and pass electricity through? Well, if they're small and current might be able to pass through them, they could become a circuit board.
Oh well, they don't really need to though, because they seem to be passing as much information through the swarm just through the vibrations. So you don't really need the electricity to transmit.
So they are a circuit board?
They are a circuit board in a way.
Could you make a computer out of them?
I suppose so. I suppose they are a computer, in a sense.
Okay, so you could have a very, very long string of them around the world and replace the internet.
Yeah.
You don't...
Yeah. Why not?
Interesting.
Well, I don't know why you would, but...
Well, if they were everywhere, they could transfer information
yeah.
really, really quickly.
Probably not as fast as through cables, though. It would be slower than optical wires, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
I've been thinking about how they use their intelligence on their own world, just natively. And well, I thought, could they farm? Even though they only eat dust, could they use their intelligence to move from area to area? So you've got like a crop rotation, so they don't overwork one area.
Right.
And then they could create like a dust devil by spiralling around to whip up the dust, and then eat the dust, or the microbes that live in the dust, or whatever they eat.
Oh, I've seen fish do that. No, sharks.
It's called a bait ball.
Yeah, so they could do that with dust, and just chomp on the dust.
But they'd actually be able to like create a wind that would whip dust up from the ground, and actually, get more nutrients into the air than would be normally.
When we say dust, what are they eating? What is the dust?
Well, they're just getting kind of base nutrients.
I think that it would work well in conjunction with other giant creatures living on the planet, which just emit a lot of, like their skin comes off.
Okay, well, the article says the cell meaning the individual bug.
Yeah.
The cell draws dust mote-sized nutrients into the nutrients in the air into its body through pores and expels waste in the same manner. So they don't have mouths.
Okay.
They're just getting nutrients the size of a dust mote and absorbing it. So no, you couldn't have a swarm of flesh-eating mind swarm bugs.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we should talk about I can't say it, bovipocalypse.
Oh, the starting point?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, I based it on a picture that I found.
Oh, in fact, it's so short, we can read it out.
A barn. Well, read it out, yeah.
Okay, shall I do it?
You do it.
Okay, bovipocalypse. Oh, do I have to do it in an accent?
Do it in an accent.
No, I'm not doing an accent. All them city slickers and so-called experts in Washington were scratching their heads like idiots. Even with all their college degrees and panels of scientific advisors, they still couldn't figure out what was going on. Why had the invaders come to Earth? What did they want? Why weren't they attacking the cities? Scientists and government officials are baffled, they kept saying on the news, as to why the alien onslaught has yet to reach any major population centre. Come out into the country, I was saying. Come out here and see for yourself what's going on, damned bureaucrats. All they think is cities, investment banks, and mock a lot of frappuccinos. If they spent just one day out here in the real world, they'll think different. All those farmers had figured it right from day one. The night they came down and shot my barn clear through with their death rays, I knew right then and there what they were after. They aren't interested in your cities or banks or your fancy government buildings. They aren't here for people at all. They've come for the cows, and they won't stop till they've got every last one.
I think you should have done that in a Yorkshire accent. I know it's a picture of an American barn, but...
Technically, it's a picture of a Dutch barn.
I suppose it is, yeah. Although I thought a Dutch barn had no walls.
I don't know. This is a sci-fi podcast, Mark. Let's not talk about barns. How much sci-fi actually takes place in a barn?
Oh.
I can think of the first episode of Voyager.
Remember Critters?
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Also Critters.
Yeah. Critters. There's a lot of barn action in that.
In Back to the Future, doesn't he store the DeLorean in a barn?
Yes. Or was it a stable, or... Anyway, why have the aliens come for the cows, do you think?
I think it's like that Star Trek film where they need the space probe needed to contact whales for no reason.
Right.
It's like that. They need to contact the cows. And so...
why do they think cows are intelligent?
Because they are the strong and silent type. No, they don't say much, so therefore they're probably quite intelligent.
Right. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. In fact, are there more cows on Earth than humans?
There probably are.
So if an alien came to Earth, then they'll go, well, the dominant species are cows.
No, maybe not.
We just look after them. I suppose
Right.
they can't really come to the conclusion that the cows have made any sort of infrastructure.
No,
They've got no opposable thumbs.
no. But maybe in the future they will. And here's my idea. I didn't think this when I wrote it. I was just basing it on the picture, but I've been thinking a lot about it after. And the only logical conclusion I can come to is that cows eventually evolve to become the dominant species.
Oh.
And they go out into space and they attack these aliens. And these aliens have gone back in time, or maybe they've got knowledge that this will happen in the future.
Terminator style. To destroy the cows.
Yeah.
Yeah, to destroy the Sarah Connor of cows.
Yeah. This reminds me of a story that was on Escape Pod several years ago that was a sequel to War of the Worlds, an unofficial sequel, from the Martians' perspective.
Right.
And the Martians, I might have talked about this before actually, because I thought this was brilliantly clever. They weren't from Mars, they were from another planet, another solar system. Mars was just a forward operating base.
Okay.
They have people who can see the future, these priestesses or something.
Okay.
And they've foreseen the destruction of their society by humans in the future. And so they started this crusade to go to Earth and destroy humans now before it's too late, before we get advanced technology.
Ah, interesting.
But, of course, the Martians lose. They die because of the germs.
Yeah.
And humans get their hands on Martian technology and go into space to seek out the Martian homeworld and destroy them.
Oh!
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is! Yeah.
I thought it worked so well.
Are you going to write this story about cows then?
No. Well, maybe they become the Boloth, Vanessa Ravencroft species.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, they did look quite a lot like cows, but they were gigantic. Is there any evolutionary advantage for something to grow over time? To be larger.
To become larger.
Like dinosaur size.
It depends on the creature's environment.
If he's got plenty of food, I suppose. Like humans.
If he's got plenty of food.
Humans have got larger.
There are defensive purposes, obviously. Hard to be brought down by a predator. That seems to be what happened with the dinosaurs. The herbivores, the prey got larger for defence, then the predators got larger, and it was an ongoing cycle of trying to best each other with size.
Like an arms race.
Generally speaking, being larger is a drawback. It's a problem.
Okay.
Because it means you've got to eat more.
Yeah, of course. It's kind of like, I think about spiders in the house sometimes. Sometimes they're really, really tiny. But then I'll look around and I wonder what they're eating. I suppose they're eating dust, flies that have died. Flies that just die and go into the carpet or whatever that you don't even notice. And they must be surrounded by food. So it's no wonder that spiders sometimes get quite big.
Of course, a lot of the bigger spiders eat the little spiders.
Well, of course. Yeah. No, that's exponential. They can get exponentially large.
Can they?
No, they can't. No.
Oh, what you think, like, because there's so many spiders about, there's always a bigger spider, and that could go on forever.
Could go on forever.
Always being one bigger spider.
Then the big spider eats the smaller spider, and then it gets even bigger.
And then you get, like, city-sized spiders eating the building-sized spiders.
Yep. Don't think that's happened yet.
No.
Never seen a spider.
They don't have lungs, so there's a limit, isn't there, to how big arthropods. Are they arthropods? Is that the right word?
Don't know.
Invertebrates of that type with a shell.
So they would need lungs to be that large.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
If you don't have lungs, all these creatures, they're drawing it in through pores in the skin.
Ah,
they don't have
they need
lungs and the kind of circulatory system that we do. So if they get too big, the oxygen can't get around the bodies.
Okay. Of course.
Although I believe spiders might be a bit more efficient than insects in the way they work because they use this kind of pneumatic system as they move. Or is it hydraulic? I think it's probably more hydraulic. So technically you could have a larger spider, but so long as it keeps moving, to keep pumping stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. We're discussing science again and probably getting it all wrong.
Yeah! Oh no, I was looking this up the other day. It was a brilliant moment of procrastination. But cows, is there a limit to how big cows can grow?
I think if scientists could genetically modify them to be bigger, they probably would, because...
Well, like give them brachiosaur DNA.
Well, that would be beneficial, wouldn't it? Because...
Bigger cows, yeah, absolutely.
Bigger cows. I mean, you have to have fewer of them on your
Fatter
farm.
cows. Yeah.
Fatter cows.
Yeah. I think probably going into the future we're going to need battery cows, actually.
Battery cows?
Yeah. Like
What,
the square pigs in... Is it...
Oh, battery cows as in...
no,
I thought you meant as a power source.
Yeah.
I thought you'd, I don't know, plug them into a power station.
Under the rudders.
So what, you mean that we should put cows in a very small pen so that they
I mean,
move
like
around?
the square pigs in Space Truckers, that film.
I didn't hear what you said.
Square pigs
In what?
in Space Truckers.
In space? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, but that's not nice for the cows. I've got a request.
Okay.
I've got a request for the listener to this podcast.
Okay.
And that's to make sure you like everything that goes on Facebook. Because
Yes.
have you noticed this recently, that if you see how many of our followers have actually seen the article, it might only be something like 20%.
Yeah.
So even if there's, I don't even know how many we have, but like
There's
1,000.
about 3,000.
3,000, okay. So only a certain percentage of those people are seeing the articles, and so if you notice, the ones that have been liked the most, or shared the most, or commented on the most, they're the ones that get shown to a higher percentage of people.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why I was going to say, if you could remember to just click like on whenever you see it on Facebook in the timeline, that really, really helps.
Yes.
So,
and it ensures that you are going to see future posts as well.
Yep, definitely. Because otherwise, if you scroll past it, Facebook then goes, oh, look, they've scrolled past it, but they didn't like it. So
they're not interested.
Let's not show that
and maybe
next time.
other people won't be interested.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, just make sure that you like it. It would really do us a favour, and it would get the articles seen by more people.
Yep.
So, good. Thank you.
Good. Okay, so it's time for us to announce the winner of the Alien August competition.
Woo!
And and the winner is The Mind Swarm by Stephen Lyle Jordan.
Woo!
Woo! Well done, Stephen. It probably won't come as much of a surprise because everybody seems to be in agreement in the comments that it's an outstanding entry. So, well done. It's not very often that we all agree on something.
That's true. But we would also like to thank everyone else for submitting their entries. There's been a lot of very good and creative.
Yes. Something like 30 entries, which is quite impressive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that is pretty good.
Reading them all. We've already mentioned the ones that we really like. It was quite a close race with the Quo and Goisi by Johnson Barrero. I thought were brilliant. I would have loved to have picked them, and yeah, it's close. So, Stephen, you have won lots of books, and the Sci-Fi Ideas mug. Woo! Everyone loves the Sci-Fi Ideas mug.
I didn't realise there was a Sci-Fi Ideas mug. I thought it was just books.
No. I've been getting out the mug for the past few years.
What? I've never seen a mug. Why haven't I got a mug?
I knew you were going to say that, and I've actually ordered you one.
Amazing! Really?
Yeah, Fantastic. I've ordered some extra ones. One for myself and one for you, just because.
Excellent, thank you very much.
I think that was going to be a Christmas present, actually, but I've ruined it.
Oh, well, fine. I can wait until Christmas.
Anyway,
so, what are the books that he's won?
There is The Deep Link by Veronica Sikoe, her debut novel. She has kindly donated.
Okay.
So thank you for that, and good luck with the sales of it. Available on Amazon, by the way. There is also a copy of Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials by Wayne Douglas Barlow and Ian Summers.
Okay.
Classic, absolute classic, which I reference quite a lot.
Is that the one with the really good artwork?
got really good artwork by Wayne Douglas Barlow,
Okay.
who is known in the industry massively as a concept artist. So yeah, a really old book that's out of print, but it's definitely worth having a copy of for research and ideas.
Yeah. Oh.
In fact, I got an extra copy of that. I ordered 2 because I thought that they might not be in very good shape because they're used. So the one that's not in quite good condition, I might give as a run-of-up prize to Johnson Barrero.
Okay.
There's also The Master of Musigny, I think I'm pronouncing that right,
Okay.
by William Benning.
Okay.
Book 5 of the First Admiral series. We gave away book 4 last year. Bit of a tease because you might have to buy the first 4.
Ah, clever that is.
Yeah. And there's also a copy of Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie,
Okay.
which is a multi-award winning
Oh, wow.
novel. Yeah. Okay, we will leave the podcast there then. Once again, thank you to everybody who's taken part in Alien August, both the competition entries and the articles that people have written for us. As always, like and subscribe to us on Facebook and Twitter, and YouTube as well. And we will see you next time. Here's hoping you all had a very alien August.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I had a dream that Arnold Schwarzenegger was fixing my car, but he was just smashing it. He was just smashing it up.
What, like Hulk? Arnie Smash!